If you guys are interested in being a member, then click the join button down below to check out the available perks. The first tier is only $1. Thank you to those of you who choose to join. What's up, mod squad? Welcome to another Division 2 build breakdown video. Before we get into the video, if you're already subscribed to me, then don't forget to smash that like button, as it really helps push our videos into the recommended section, which in turn helps the channel grow. Interaction is a big part of what helps us in YouTube algorithm, and the extra support is very much appreciated. In today's video, I'll showcase my TU16 UMBRA Initiative SMG build for Solo PVE. This is a gear set that brings both DPS and survivability to the table, so automatically it is highly favoured by the community. The new UMBRA Initiative gear set is a gear set which focuses on moving in and out of cover, playing to the intended design of the Division 2, that being a cover based shooter. Now, although I think this gear set best suits a sit back build, it can be used to play in a more aggressive run and gun manner. It just means paying closer attention to your buffs. One thing I really like about this gear set is the extremes when it comes to RPM, which you've seen in the intro clips. Faster RPM weapons like the Dark Winter, Vector, Chameleon or the Chatterbox are utterly insane with this gear set. In my opinion, this gear set is fun and it promotes a different playstyle, but is nowhere near as powerful as Strikers, Heartbreaker or Hunter's Fury. And I'd honestly like to see it receive a little buff just to put it more in line with those other gear sets. UMBRA Initiative also does wonders when it comes to weapon diversity in the Division 2, as it makes slower RPM weapons more viable and makes faster RPM weapons OP. With today's build, we go to the extremes when it comes to weapon RPM, using either the Dark Winter SMG or the exotic SMG, the Chatterbox. The Dark Winter I'd recommend for those of you who want a little bit more damage, and the Chatterbox I'd recommend for more sustained DPS. I personally have really enjoyed using the Chatterbox, as the boost from its talent and the UMBRA's 4-piece combined is just nuts. Then also factor in not having to reload and gaining 5% rate of fire on kill from the gunner specialization as well, which allows you to just blitz everything in front of you. The Chatterbox with its talent maxed out gets you up to 1260 RPM, so again combine that with the UMBRA's 15 to 30% RPM increase and gunner's 5% RPM on kill, just makes for some insane RPM. This build offers a great amount of damage and survivability. Just off one kill alone you gain 30% bonus armor on kill, 20% weapon damage on kill, 5% rate of fire on kill and 10% armor on kill. If you use the Dark Winter, you can also stack Vindictive and Finisher to really boost up your crit damage. The fact that the UMBRA Initiative gear set gives you 15% crit chance from its 2-piece allows you to heavily spec into crit damage, allowing you to easily get up to 250% crit damage and more. At this build's base you have 1.3 million armor, and fully stacked is capable of reaching well over 2 million. So on top of being a tank when fully stacked up, we have plenty of survivability from the 2 types of armor on kill, as well as 3% armor regen, which pairs great with the armor regen you gain for the UMBRA Initiative 4-piece. So not only do we have burst forms of healing, but passive healing as well. This build is perfect for all heroic content, whether that's control points, missions, bounties or the summit, and it's just overall a lot of fun to use. Again, if you feel you're lacking in damage, I recommend using the Dark Winter, and if you're also struggling with the playstyle required for the Chatterbox, then the Dark Winter again is the go-to. If you have any questions or recommendations, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below and I'll reply like I always do. Now we spoke a little bit about the build and I've showcased some of what it's capable of, let's get into a quick build breakdown. Right guys, starting off with the specialization, and we are using the gunner. Reason being is it synergizes so well with the rest of our build. This specialization offers DPS, survivability and utility. As you can see, we get the right foam grenade, which is great for both PvE and PvP. If you can funnel enemies and then use this grenade, you will snare a bunch of them, which makes them easier to kill. Up next, killing enemies grants 10% armor. Next, every third reload is 50% faster. That's going to add to DPS, and it comes in clutch, especially when you're using a low mag SMG. The armor kit on this build gives us 100% armor repair and then 30% bonus armor for 10 seconds. Every specialization has a skill with it that you can unlock, and as you can see is the Banshee Pulse. You can see in the gameplay that is very effective, stuns NPCs making them easier to kill. This specialization also generates 10% of total ammo capacity every 60 seconds. Which is great if you're a solo player, because you'll find you'll never run out of ammo. If you're not picking it up through NPCs, then this specialization will be replenishing it for you. Up next, rate of fire increased by 5% on kill. This is just going to add to our DPS, helping us kill faster. 50% pulse resistant, that's going to help when you're in a dark zone. And that is pretty much it for the specialization. So with that said, let's move on to the build breakdown. Right guys, starting off with our primary weapon, we have the exotic SMG, the Chatterbox. As you can see, its base RPM is 700 and we have 60 in a magazine. When this is fully stacked up on its talent, you can get up to 1260 RPM. When it comes to the attachments, we have 15% critical hit damage on the scope, 5% crit damage on the muzzle, 10 extra rounds in the magazine, and the grip gives us 10% weapon handling. Now my second recommendation for our prime weapon would be the Dark Winter, because as you can see, for starting RPM it has 1200 RPM. So that RPM is not situational, it just comes as base. And we had the perfect killer talent, kill an enemy with a critical hit grants 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. This is a talent you can just chain over and over and over as long as you're killing your enemies. On the attribute, I have damage to targets out of cover on there for that multiplicative damage. When you're looking at the attachments, we have 5% crit damage on the sight, 5% crit damage on the grip, 5% crit damage on the flash hider, and the magazine gives us the extra 20 rounds, taking us up to 45 in the magazine. What's also great about using the vector with this skill set, it gives us 30% reload speed. So as you can imagine, we're going to burst through a 45 magazine real fast, but we'll have that extra weapon handling from the gun specialization, plus the 30% reload speed from the UMBRA initiative gear set to reload quickly and get back to bursting down enemies. Moving on to the secondary, we have the named Grudge SMG, which gives us the perfect vindictive talent. Kill an enemy with a status effect applied grants you and your allies within 20 meters 18% critical hit chance and 18% critical hit damage for 20 seconds. So guys, you'd use the bouncy pulse, you'd apply a status effect, kill them with this weapon, and then you'd switch back to your primary. This weapon also has damage to targets out of cover rolled on it as well for multiplicative damage. We have 52 in the magazine and 900 RPM. So this also receives a pretty nice boost from the UMBRA initiative gear set as well. We have 5% crit chance on the scope, 20 rounds in the magazine, 5% crit chance on the laser pointer, and 5% critical hit damage on the flash hider. And of course, moving on to our sidearm, we have the named Orbit Pistol, which gives us the perfect finisher talent. Swapping from this weapon within 10 seconds of killing an enemy grants 35% critical hit chance and 40% critical hit damage for 15 seconds. Now finally getting into the build pieces, guys, starting off with our UMBRA initiative mask. We have 170k max armor, 10.8% critical hit damage, and 12% critical hit damage via mod. Moving on to the chest piece, and the chest piece you can switch between either the UMBRA chest piece or this Sokolov chest piece, giving us 10% SMG damage, 15% weapon damage, 6% crit chance, 12% critical hit damage, and then 12% critical hit damage via mod. And we have the Intimidate talent. Because this is a run and gun build and we are using the memento, we're going to be stacking up on that bonus armor, so we'll have it more often than not. While you have bonus armor gain 1 stack each second up to max stack of 7, each stack increases weapon damage by 5% to enemies within 10 meters. All stacks are lost when you have no bonus armor. Now if you are struggling to keep these bonus armor stacks up and keep the Intimidate talent active, then I'd suggest using the UMBRA initiative chest piece. This is going to give you more consistent damage, but a little less damage. Moving on to our UMBRA initiative holster now, we have 170k max armor and 11.9% critical hit damage. On our UMBRA initiative knee pads, we have 14.9% weapon damage and 12% critical hit damage. Our UMBRA initiative gloves, 15% weapon damage and 12% critical hit damage. And then finally, the Memento backpack, of course, gives us 3 cores, weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier. And then we have 12% critical hit damage via a mod and the kill confirmed talent. Feel free to pause the video to go over that in greater detail, guys. Now, the reason I went for 3 blues is just to get a good amount of armor for every trophy we pick up. But at the same time, you don't want to spec into too many blues because I feel this build needs quite a bit of weapon damage to allow it to do decent damage, getting us around that 500k body shot damage. Moving on to our skills now, we have the shield. Looking at the mods on this, we have 4.9% shield health, 4.6% shield health, and then 5% damage bonus, which doesn't apply because we're not using the firewall specialization, but you can use the firewall again if you feel like you're lacking in damage on this build. Moving on to the Banshee Pulse, this stuns multiple enemies, making it very easy to gain the Chatterbox buff. That is pretty much it for the build, guys. We're going to look over the stat sheet real quick. I'm not going to talk all the way through it. 60% critical hit chance, 154.7% critical hit damage. These are the stats with the Chatterbox. It's been a while since I used the Chatterbox, but it's honestly a lot of fun to use, guys. Not having to reload, hearing that RPM just blitz through absolutely everything just makes it a lot more fun, and it's something different to use. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Comment and I'll reply like I always do. Share these videos to help the channel grow and help out other agents. Smash that like button to help us reach that 500 like goal. And with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Mod Squad.
Stay right there. better run!
Incapacitating target.
Watch out!
Don't let them.
Oh, you like that?
Civilians in distress. Heavily armored hostile detected.
Let's see you run now.
Control point secured. Well done.